What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Samsara YouTube channel. We're just launching. If you like our content, please like it, subscribe, share it, help us grow this channel. This month, we're going to be talking about the process of habit formation. And because it's January, we're in a time of the year where a lot of us have done some reflecting on the year prior, and we've set intentions for the year ahead. And we've made New Year's resolutions. And I want to talk about the difference between a resolution and habit, and ultimately how we can go from a resolution to a habit. Resolutions rely on our motivation. They rely on our resolve and the ability to muster the intention to do something despite the obstacles that stand in the way. And resolve can be really a useful tool and mental posture to overcome singularly difficult moments. For example, if I was going to dive into freezing cold water in a pond in the middle of winter, I would have to muster the courage, the presence of mind to strip down and dive in. And resolve could help me do that. But when we're talking about transforming our bodies and becoming the athletes that we dream of, it's not going to be a singular moment that's going to enable that. It's going to be about consistency. And when our outcomes depend on doing something regularly, consistently, with high frequency, we're going to need an easier trajectory, an easier path that does not rely on something as fickle as motivation. That's where habits come in. Habits are like a brain groove, and they're a pattern that we just naturally fall into. Sort of like brushing our teeth, making coffee, having dinner with our families. Those are things that are just part of our day, and we don't actually have to put that much thought into doing them. They naturally occur, and we organize ourselves to ensure that they do. That's where we want to put exercise. And when exercise and training and getting out can occur in that reflexive or automated part of our brain, then it's much, much easier for us to naturally fall into that pattern, even when life goes astray and we have obstacles and we have curveballs. Habits occur despite those obstacles, and that's why they're so important, and they make achieving our athletic goals so easy. In a lot of ways, when I think about my own exercise habits, they really do border on addiction a little bit. And if you think about it, habits and addictions are not altogether all that different, because they both have that characteristic of being reflexive, of being automated. You know, if somebody hits me in the knee, my leg straightens. That's not something that I have to consciously do. It happens. And habits are essentially the positive equivalent, in my mind, of an addiction. They're things that I deliberately choose and that I deliberately orient myself towards, that I organize my life to ensure that I have. And the more that I practice them, the harder it is to break them. In fact, I often find that it's harder to not go get a session in than it is to get a session in, because it's so well grooved. And a great analogy for thinking about habits is out in nature. And when you think about water and how water creates a course in nature that eventually becomes a riverbed and eventually becomes a canyon, at first, when you pour water on flat earth, it's disorganized and it just flows in any which way. But as the ground is exposed to water landing on it, water starts to groove a track that allows it to organize itself and to flow in this purposeful way. And the deeper and more frequent that water lands in that space, the deeper the groove, and eventually we have the Grand Canyon. And that's what we want. We want the Grand Canyon of exercise habits. If you don't have that in your life, if you're relying on resolutions, then when water falls, it's chaos. It could go any which way. And as soon as life gets in the way because of hiccups and all of the different curveballs that we have to deal with, then we find ourselves in chaos. And how do we go from chaos to a really well-grooved habit? Well, that relies on routines. Routines are conscious choices that we make that enable us to start to create that neurological groove. So in the next video, I'm going to start diving into how we can form these great routines. Again, if you like the content, please subscribe, like it, and share it. Really appreciate you being here. We'll see you next time.